Saludos familia de Puerto Rico, les habla su presidente de la plataforma Todo sobre Lucha Libre. Hoy tenemos a la luchadora Nikki Chase. Hello Nikki, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very fine, very fine. Well, so the fan can know a little bit about you. Where are you from?
Well, I'm located in Colorado, just outside of Denver. So that's where I call home.
Okay, tell us your story. Why did you become a wrestler?
Yeah, so I have been in the business now about 2.5 years. It's kind of a funny story. I had a good friend that was a former WWE OVW wrestler. And she was teaching a class and she needed warm bodies. So I came along, and then 2.5 years later, here we are.
So who teach you how to wrestle?
I trained here in Colorado at a local school. Primo's Butcher Shop was the name of is the name of the school. So that's where I trained for the first year and a half before I kind of debuted. And yeah, that's where I kind of learned the world of wrestling.
Nikki Chase, is that your real name or that your wrestler name?
It's a combination of both. So I wrestle with my twin brother, who his name is Chase Logan in real life. So he switched it and he is Logan Chase. So I use my middle name, Nikki, and his gimmick last name, Nikki Chase. So we're Logan and Nikki Chase.
Which one you prefer, heel or face?
It's so important to be able to do both. And I'm still trying to get my skill set with the face, being a face of the crowd. So I think I excel more as a heel. I seem to get that psychology, and I can really get some emotional solicitation from the crowd as a heel.
Okay, let's go back. Your first date, you get out, hear your name, hear your music, see the crowd, see everything. How do you feel that first day?
Terrified. Completely terrified. Some folks come into wrestling and they make their debut within 3 or 6 months. I waited a whole year. And I kind of had to be pushed to be like, all right, you're debuting now. But yeah, complete terror. But it's like when you're behind that curtain and your music comes on and you hear the announcer, say where you're from and your name, something kind of switches. You've got to become that character. So, but Nikki Chase may be confident, but I think Chelsea, which is my real name, is terrified.
Oh my God. So I think you have a lot of fans. But how about the kids? When they come to you, they say, hey, I want a photograph. I want your signing. I want to be just like you when I grow up. How do you feel?
It's amazing. It's usually when I'm a face. Otherwise, when I'm a heel, I've been known to make kiddos cry. Which I guess is a good thing. But no, it's so awesome. And I try and pick out a little fan each show to give a t-shirt to get them engaged and feel like they're really part of the show, and taking pictures with them afterwards, and ask when they're going to start their training as a professional wrestler. So it's really cool I never saw myself as a role model in that way, but to see them they're bright smiles and shining eyes looking up at you is pretty cool.
Okay, so are you an independent wrestler or do you belong to some wrestling company?
I'm an independent wrestler, so I go all over, mostly West Coast, or sorry, not West Coast, the mountain range here, Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico. But I've been in Michigan, Utah.
Okay. If you have the chance to wrestle somebody, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, but you have on your mind, okay, I wrestled this girl. Which one would you prefer to wrestle?
So who would I want to wrestle? like a dream
Yeah.
kind of match. Oh
Yeah.
God, it changes all the time, but I think my absolute most favorite would be China. Obviously, I know that's not a possibility since she's since passed away, unfortunately. But I was a huge fan of hers growing up. I love that she could hang with the boys. I love that she was a trailblazer. I'd like to have her put me up, like, you know, where she's up on the shoulders and then like just drop you. I think that would be awesome.
So, any woman that is alive right now that you would like to wrestle?
Oh, there's so many. Gosh. I think the most well-known one would probably be, I really like Britt Baker of AEW. One, I know she just came out and said that like she had a trans ischemic attack, which is kind of like a mini stroke, and she's now like better. But I really like her background as like an academic professional, being a dentist and a pro wrestler. I think that like really broke down some walls, that you can have a professional career outside the ring as well as tear it up inside the ring too. So
Have you so far have won any title?
I have. So I currently hold the WWX World Wrestling Express Women's Championship, and that's in Larned, Kansas. I am also the Texas Wrestling Entertainment Women's Champion as well, and that's out of San Antonio.
What do you think, or what is your opinion about hardcore matches?
Like death matches and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's an art form in and of itself within the pro wrestling world. And I folks that like dedicate their lives to like death matches or hardcore matches, like you can tell they're like extremely passionate about bringing that art form to life. It's not something I do, mostly because I hate blood and guts and whew, so I don't know. I mean, sometimes it happens, you know, you get busted open accidentally, and that's one thing. But some of that hardcore stuff, I don't think you'll see Nikki Chase in a death match.
So far, have you have any injury that maybe someday it will turn you into say, I'm quitting wrestling?
I've been very fortunate in that. I haven't had any serious injuries, you know, little bumps and bruises and a little soreness, absolutely. And then once you have a match and like you're sore and then you like get on a cramped plane for like 3 hours to go home. But fortunately, I've not had any serious injuries. I do think if something along the spine were to come up, like herniated discs or the need for like spinal fusion, or I think that I would bow out gracefully at that point. Luckily, thank goodness, knock on wood, that has not happened.
Are you a mother?
I am not.
Okay. If someday you have a kid or a little girl and say, Mom, I want to be a wrestler, what would you do? What would you say to him or to her?
That's a good question. Absolutely experiment, try it out, learn all the different forms of wrestling because I think that is so important. I think sometimes we get away from what traditionally wrestling is, and that's not a good or bad thing. It's just different as the sport and art evolves. But learn as much as you can, take in as much as you can, and make sure it's right for you.
Good answer.
I think it
How do
also
you?
saves me have a backup plan too. Because, you know, at any moment this could all be done, right? You get an ACL injury, that's 9 months out. So have other passions as well.
How do you define your style in wrestling?
Ooh, I think Nikki Chase is always smart. She's always trying to outsmart and be the smartest person in the ring. She's a little cocky. You'll hear her sometimes bragging about her advanced degrees and using what she knows of psychology against her opponents. So she's always like trying to one up or be the smartest, but she's not afraid to be manipulative or bend the rules as far as she can. I think that's like my style.
Can you name a wrestler that cost you a little bit to beat on a ring?
Say that again.
Can you name a wrestler that cost you to beat her on a ring?
To beat her?
Yeah.
Uh, Gosh. I had a really good feud with a local wrestler named Urza Menagerie Tinker, EMT, the almighty EMT. Um, and she was always chasing after me. She was always chasing after my titles, but I was always one step ahead. So using kind of like what I said about the rules, she was able to finagle her way into being a referee for one of my matches. But the title can't change hands on a disqualification.
Mm.
So I was able to use and bend that rule to my advantage in the match and come out on top.
If some big company, some wrestling company calls you, but say you have to change a lot of things on you, would you do that? Or would you say no because I'm happy the way I am?
That's a great question. I was talking to my mentor about this, and I said adamantly, you know, if one of the bigger companies was interested and they're like, hey, we want you to have this contract, you'll have to move to Florida and be on the road however many days a year, I was adamant, absolutely not, no way. And just because I have a pretty settled life where I'm at, I got into wrestling late, so I already had kind of like a career and life and family. But my mentor said, you know, things change when a pretty hefty check is slid your way. So I don't know what I'd say. I would be absolutely flattered and have a conversation. And if they'd be willing to like work with me, like I'd work with them, who knows? You may see Nikki Chase on the big stage yet.
Sometimes working with a big wrestling company implies dedication and implies a lot of sacrifice. You know,
100%.
like you say, it's a lot of money, but it's a lot of sacrifice to.
Absolutely. Sacrifice on family life, body, soul. So it would take a lot of consideration. And the folks that do choose that, I'm just amazed at their dedication, their passion. Um, it's mind blowing.
Okay. So, have you ever been a manager or you all have always been a wrestler?
No, so about 2016. So how long ago was that? 8 years. I actually started out as a ring announcer and backstage interviewer for a local company in Colorado. I wasn't in a place in my life to train as a wrestler. So this was my way of kind of being able to be involved and learn about the business, but as much as I could. So that's how I started out. And then I also managed my brother and my cousin, Chasing Glory, if anyone's interested, Logan Chase and Major Glory. So I do serve a manager role for them from time to time.
Sometimes here in Puerto Rico, we have a couple of companies that they want wrestlers from the United States. If they call you, what can you give to us?
Sorry, say that one more time.
Okay, if somebody here in Puerto Rico, a wrestling company calls you and say, hey, what can you bring to us? What would you say?
I would say I can bring you a top of the line diva heel that you want your crowd to get fired up about, throw some one finger salutes, to be using adult language, to really feel the hate for your women's division. I'm your girl.
Being a heel, I always say, is difficult because if people don't hate you, you are not doing a great job.
You want to go out there and you want them chanting like explicitives at you. Absolutely.
Would you love to go to Mexico?
Absolutely. I don't know as much lucha. I am learning. And it's like it's almost like learning two different languages, but they're both like, you know, like with Spanish and English, they're both like Latin based, but it's
Okay.
there's different nuances. So I'm in an introduction to lucha. But that isn't a skill set I have solidified yet. But I'd love to go to Mexico.
If they make you a call to go to Mexico, they say, well, come here, but you need to use a mask because a lot of girls there in Mexico they use mask. Would you
Mhm.
be willing to use a mask?
100%. If I don't have to do my makeup, yeah. If I don't have to have that all that like makeup and eyelashes and give me the mask, man.
What about Japan?
Ooh. You know, I have some colleagues here in the Denver, Colorado area that have gone and done tours in Japan. I would love to see it. And just like taking the culture, even not to like if I'm not there as a wrestler, but just as like a helper and to like take it all in 100%. I hear they hit hard over there. So
Mhm.
that'd be so cool to kind of experience their style.
When and where is going to be your next match?
Yeah, so I've got a number of stuff coming up as we're heading into the dog days of summer. You can next find me in Denver, Colorado at Respect Women's Wrestling. That is July 12th, this coming Friday. And then I am in Las Cruces, New Mexico on July 13th for a Taco, Tequila, and Cerveza Festival that's going on in downtown Las Cruces.
If somebody want to reach you through the social media, how can they do it?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram as Nikki Chase, and my email for booking is nikki.chasepro@gmail.com.
A message for the people who love you and a message for the people who hate you.
Oh, uh, well, the ones that love me, obviously, there's a fine line between love and hate. But I would ask them, I think for both of them, whether you love me or hate me, what is it about you? What is it about them? What is the dance they're doing within themselves that makes them love or hate me?
Mi gente, Nikki Chase, una ruda. Así que vamos a ver si la podemos ver en Puerto Rico. Hope to see you soon here in Puerto Rico. Mi gente,
Love
nosotros
it.
estamos en YouTube. Suscríbanse al canal. En Facebook tenemos el grupo y tenemos la página. Estamos también en Instagram. Y tenemos dos páginas en Instagram. Así que muy pendiente. Nikki, thank you for your time. This is not going to be the first time or the last time. We're going to contact you for an interview because I love to do the interviews a little shorter because that makes the people wanting more and more and more. Hope someday see you with your title or see you with two titles, three titles. I always say that the sky is the limit. You look like a nice girl. You look like somebody who have humility, and that's good. That you always remember who gave you the first time having a match, the first people that interview you, because when you are here, you start to forget all those people, and when you come down, those people don't want to know about you.
Yeah. No, it's an honor to be at any level in this business and to meet everyone, fans, managers, promoters, bookers, interviewers. I'm just in awe of whatever people allow me to do and to just be here.
Thank you for very much for your time. A hug from here from Puerto Rico.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.